today, everybody, having a hangout with Santos Bonacci and David Giamitia. Hello, guys, both of them. One's on my tablet, one's on my phone. Santos says the internet isn't very good in Mexico. Is that right, Santos?
That's right. It is bad.
Do you feel a bit like you're a captive now, then?
Yeah, like everyone else. It's lockdown here for sure. I can only travel around in my town. There's security checks on the outskirts of town. You can only go to a neighbouring town if you've got a good reason. And they're slowing down the internet. It's definitely, I just paid for the best internet you could possibly have, an extra $100 a month. And it's failing. I can't upload any pages this morning.
Not good, Santos.
I'm on my phone outside. Not good at all, sister.
Apart from the internet, how are you doing then? Because you're in Mexico right now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not doing really well at all. Yeah.
Oh no, that's not good, Santos.
Yeah, itching all night last night and itching the night before, 2 nights in a row now. It's electrical. It's definitely AI, 100%. I know that because I've confirmed it many times with others who are suffering the same thing, and through my research. So it's not good. It's an electrical AI itch, and it's torture, sister. Torture. Right now I'm itching all over the place, scratching every part of my body.
Oh. Is it followed you, Santos? Because did this happen to you in Australia as well? Because obviously you're in America or Mexico at the moment, but did it happen to you in Australia? Do you think they're following you?
Oh, absolutely. It's not a country system. It's a worldwide computer system, and your biology has a certain frequency, and so the machinery is set up to follow you and torture you all around the world, wherever you go.
Golly. I'm very sorry to hear that, Santos.
Yep.
I've got David here with me right now. David, what do you think about that, David?
Ciao, Santos. Happy Moon Day, and thank you for joining. It's always good to hear your voice, and we send our love and respect and vibrations, positive, ionised vibrations with you. So, I just want to say that first. Good to hear you, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's right. I'm privy to some of the, our research and what we've discovered with cells and vibrations and magneto-electro bandwidths, and the 5 and the G there, the technologies. There's quite a few reports of similar afflictions. Others are complaining of. So I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, something like that, from all accounts. And I'm not able to definitively say, but it appears that there's a deception afoot, and we are being affected. The plants, the birds, the bees, trees turning brown. There's lots of physical effects that we're seeing of modern times that are quite worrying. I don't think there's been full disclosure there. This technology that we're having brought onto us. So he's right. I see it, as Santos says, it is a worldwide grid. We've got SpaceX with the ability to put millions or thousands of antennas on the ground, and they're chucking up low orbit light satellites allegedly into low orbit. Again, thousands of them. So there's a film that I can recall, Geostorm or something like that, and what I heard with SpaceX and 5G technology.
David,
wow.
He's connecting. His line is connecting. Is that what we're going to get of Santos?
Maybe, yeah. Well, if it's sketchy, but that's it.
Sorry, everybody. We're trying to connect with Santos. Right, the line broke, so I have to call him back. 1 second. That happens sometimes, even on a phone. Wherever you are, you can lose your connection. But waiting for network, it says. Connecting. Just bear with us, everybody. Right, we've come back on in a different way now. You had to go into town then?
Yeah. Reception on my phone's not very good where I live, but the internet is down today. I've been speaking to a few locals, and it's down everywhere in town. I've had poor internet since I've been in Mexico since March 15. Well, when I say not very good, it's not very good as elsewhere in that it goes up and down, but in the last 3 days it's been very, very bad, and it's definitely a telltale sign that it's going to go down. So I'm warning everybody get ready, it's definitely going to go down. The other things would be to watch the banks. The banks are going to, obviously what underpins everything is money, and how people can access money and use it to transact and get by. They're obviously trying to limit everybody, right? So that's going to be the problem. Watch the banks. They'll be closing soon too, I think, if they get to that. They're the two things that are crucial for humanity. Mm-hmm.
It's like NASA's taking us over or something. Yeah. We've been bought. We're a commodity.
Mm-hmm. No, I know. What they're going to do is do a big switcheroonie on us. Everything's going to be different. Way more artificial, way more AI, and secular, and mechanistic. No more natural remedies, no more natural behaviour. Everything's going to be... They've already planted the seeds for that. You know, this is social distancing and everything. Now people have a new way of interacting. Now germs, threats, suspicions are going to control people's behaviour, and they're so evil. They know what humans need. They know how humans behave on the principles of love and virtue, honesty, and they're going to take that away from people. Now it'll be like people will be more like machines, is what they're going to try and make people, like machines, to function, so that a system can prosper. The collective, not the individual. See, in the true way of living, there's always the individual and the collective. There's always you and God. There's always your mind and the universal mind, right? So now what they're trying to do is universalize everything, a universal system.
I'm talking to someone tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
She got arrested, and basically I want her to tell her story, but she got arrested and it made her look up the law, and she realised that you weren't being taken to court by this corporation called USA. You were taken to court by the universal something or other, which David knows about, and you weren't a human being, you were a commodity. You were already that before we started this.
Yeah, Santos knows that one. That's the UCC. The UCC, is it not? The International Commercial Codes that run the banks and stuff, brother. He knows about that. That's what we talked about like the other day, Santos, about the commercial, the dead entity of the legal person,
But we were already there before this started, weren't we? We already had all that. So, yeah. And they've got a lot of money, haven't they? Because they get it from your birth certificate. They get insurance companies or mortgagees. They get life cover on you. So they've been making masses of money out of the people anyway.
Yes.
Well, the UK, Santos, has blue skies at the moment. No chemtrails or clouds or whatever those planes do. The sun is out, but it's not very warm. But the sun is out.
Wonder why that is. A lot of people are reporting this. Why do you think there's no they're not bombing the skies with chemtrails now, when you think that they would, right? You'd think that they would be bombing it to poison people even more. I don't. The only thing I can think of is that part of the New World Order has been paralysed somehow. I can't see why they would relent and let up on chemtrails. It's one of their great assets. Or has it run its course? Has it had the required effect, the desired effect of dumbing people right down to lead them to this point where they just throw away all their rights? Now they don't need it.
I don't know, but we've had many blue sky days over the UK. Well, I have. At least when I look out the window, it's blue.
Well, when I got here,
Carry on.
When I got here this morning, I came to town to do this, and I come to my favourite juice bar, and there were two guys out the front and a crowd surrounding that were fighting each other, trying to fight each other. And they're both known in the community, and they're both very nice guys. They're both from, I think, from Canada. And they had to call the police. The police came and handcuffed them and took them away. This sort of stuff does never happen in a town like Masunte. So I asked a few of the people what's going on, and no one could understand why these two would want to fight each other. It's like as though, and I woke up this morning itching like a dog. I'm not itching now. And last night I probably only had a couple of hours of sleep, but I was severely itching. And I guarantee you that it was AI, and it was really vicious. I think last night was the worst itch I've ever had. It takes my breath away.
I was telling David before we went online, Santos, that they can use HARP like that. They can incite people through HARP. Whether they can or they can't, I don't know. But who knows? But these programs I was watching, they were saying they can have it over towns, and then they can incite people to go to war.
I was going to say, that's the conclusion I was going to draw. What they do is they agitate people. I've been agitated like this for 10 years. I'd wake up some mornings and I just wanted to, be angry at everything. It's caused havoc in my life, and for no reason at all. And it just controls your behaviour. It really, really does.
It might be certain humans pick up on their whizzing through us.
Yes. So right now, I'm struggling to stand up. My head is faint and dizzy. I feel really, really, really sick. Very, very hard to concentrate. And still itching a little bit, but the feeling is I don't feel natural and happy and clean. I feel polluted and agitated, and it's irritable. It's whether it's 5G, I suspect 5G is already up. That's what I think. Or it's been up and they haven't turned it all the way up, except for certain times during the day. Because it's incredible how, for no rhyme or reason, I'll just start itching out of the blue. I'm going to put the camera on me one day. I was going to do it last night, but I just couldn't be bothered just to record 10 minutes of what I go through. I've never ever shown anybody, because every time I do a show, I'm not really itching. It's that those are the breaks where I get a little bit of peace. I'm lucky that I get a little bit of peace, and that's when I can be productive and I get stuff done. But generally, I'm just sitting there scratching like a monkey, and it's just I haven't got enough hands. And it ranges from burning to it's not just an itch. It's tickling. It's really insidious, hideous tickling all over the body, like insects crawling under the skin. It's spasms, convulsions, burning skin, prickling, stinging. And sometimes it's like you're lying in a bunch of nettle or prickly thorns, thistles. And that's my life. That's what I'm going through. I've been going through that severely for 10 years, even more, but the last 10 years they've vamped it up, because of course I woke up in 2007 And I was doing 12 hours of research every day, researching the Vatican, the Jesuits, the Rothschilds, the Bilderbergers. And of course, when you do that, there's a logarithm that, tells the beast system, informs them that you're one of those, of course. And what they'll do then is they'll use your devices to torture you at convenient times during the day. And for me, it's when I go horizontal, when I go to bed. As soon as I go to bed, it starts. Last night, I laid down. I wasn't itching all day yesterday. Come 11 o'clock, I lie down, and one little sting on my forehead. And then I knew, as soon as I felt that sting, I knew, right, here it comes. And it came. Within 5 minutes, I was being tortured with the burning, the stinging, the tickling, the tingling, the pricking, the convulsions, and the spasms all together now. Formerly, it used to be just one or the other. One night I'll have a tickling, the next night I'll have a stinging, the next night I'll have a burning sensation. It was always just one thing. Now I get hit with the whole lot. And let me tell you, the reason why I believe and know it's AI, because I get short of breath. I'm a very good breather. I've done lots of yoga, and I know how to control all that and keep my breath under control. But this is something else. It just attacks the lungs or the cells and takes away the oxygen, and then my heart starts palpitating. So it's a whole series of things that come upon me, and it's just what do you do? Oh yeah. Many of my loved ones that have seen, they're close to me, have seen it. My first wife remembers it. My second wife, Hiromi, remembers it. My partner after my second wife, which it basically destroyed that relationship. She remembers it clearly because it absolutely destroyed our relationship. And other people like my mother just... No, see, this is the thing. Whatever they torture you with is always going to be different to the guy next to you. This is how they work, okay? They get a family, they get funding, right? These people, the government gives them money, and it gives them a job to do. So they sit behind a computer, and they might get the Smith family in such and such a town. That's your job. And what you've got to do is you've got to hit each member with a different frequency and a different torture system. So one of those members of the family, they will start getting depressed. So their torture is depression. They go off to the doctor, and the doctor prescribes for them medications that are already being prepared for those particular symptoms. So then they'll monitor their records to see whether their frequencies are having the effect. The other family member, they will have a different frequency, and they will get obese and put on weight and not know why or how to go on diets and lose their weight. Another member, they will hear voices in their head. Another member, they will just get cancer. And so there's endless amount of different frequencies, and they are very, very clever to be able to triangulate each person according to their DNA and their particular biofrequencies, and they will experiment according to their choice. With me, they know that I'm very productive, and so what they try to do is take me out at night, so I can't sleep. And then the next day, you know, I'll have readings and shows to do, and I just won't be able to do it because I can't do things publicly when I'm in that state. I'm in a very, very bad state. And no matter how much I try, I can't bring myself to be my normal self, to be able to function properly, to perform those activities. And that has caused me, it's been a hell on earth, because not only am I cancelling things on the day when they come to me, but I'm trying to catch up with the already cancelled things. So when people, for instance, all around the world make bookings for a reading or a consultation with me, and I have to cancel it, well, they want to reschedule, and they want to reschedule on their time. And that causes havoc because of all the time zones, and then there's always double bookings, or there's missed appointments, and so I've always got a backlog of people that I'm having to reschedule and look after, and it is hectic because those people, they've only got one thing to do, and that is to talk to me. But me, I've got tens and tens of things to do, because I've got products I want to make for syncretism, I want to upload online, I've got to do readings, I've got to do shows, and that's all scheduled. And I've got multiple things to do. See, some people, when they write to me, it's kind of like they don't get it that they're not the only ones I'm talking to. You know, so if I answer someone on Messenger, for instance, answer one of their questions, as soon as I answer them, they're on the other end, they're thinking, oh, I've got his attention, I'll start talking to this guy now. Well, I'm off to the next guy, because I've got 150 messages every day on Messenger. No, more than that, way more than that. Like, I'll wake up in the morning and there's 100. So I might hit the first one and answer it, right? By the time I get to the second one, he's already answered with 10 pages of other questions, and I'm on the second guy, and he's there like, well, where are you? Hey, Santos, I replied, here I am. Well, where did you go? You know, and I'm like, I've just begun. I've just got up. I'm itching. I'm scratching, and I just started, and I'm answering out of courtesy. But they don't understand, because they've only got three friends on Facebook, and I'm one of them. Whereas I've got hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, and they're contacting me every day. It's hectic. It's totally hectic. If I didn't have this itch, I'd be able to cope. I'd be on it, you know, but I can't. I'm forced to, you know, if I go and meditate, for instance, the moment I sit there and breathe and do my yoga is the moment the itching comes to me. It somehow knows when my body temperature drops and when I'm trying to relax and heal. It knows, and it jumps on me straight away and stops me. So all my yoga, my meditations, my sleeping, my resting, all of it is compromised. All of it. My whole life is absolutely compromised. I struggle through everything that I've got to do, everything, and it's all because of this frequency. And then, of course, you've got people who judge you, you know, like they judge a fish by how well it climbs a tree, you know. And so what they'll do is they'll see me struggling, and then because they've only got a very limited, narrow mind, they will say something like, oh, it's your vegan diet, Santos, you need to eat meat. And then the next guy will say, oh, it's astrology, you know, you're teaching astrology, and that's satanic, and the demons have got you. And then another guy will say, oh, it's because you teach syncretism. And then everybody's got their opinions, you know, and then, but these people themselves have got their own problems, but they're ready to judge you by their standard of measure, you know. And it's none of those things, and it's all of those things. But with AI, it's so clever because it has destroyed many, many people. And here's one example: relationships. Don't ever take your relationship for granted, because I'm telling you, if you're in a loving relationship, the system knows you are, and it will get in either your head or your partner's head and cause you to fight. And that's how they work. It's the core of a united community, partners and families. And that's where they're getting. And you'll notice now these days, partnerships don't last more than a couple of weeks or a couple of months, or if that, a year. If you get a year out of a good loving partnership, you're doing really, really well. That's like in the olden days, that's like 40 years of marriage. It's reduced to about a year now. I find that people are writing to me from all over the world, telling me of their heartache that their girlfriends have taken off with another guy, or their boyfriends just picked up and left, and they're fighting all the time, or there's so many relationship problems. So please take it to heart, folks. Everyone's being attacked. Don't sit there and think, that's what happened to them and it won't happen to me. We're all in the same boat, and everybody's affected by this evil field of AI, which has one intent: to destroy humanity and make us mechanistic and robotic.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one, Santos, because another person called Josh Stone was trying to show you the motherboard, and they've set the whole towns up like it's an inside of a computer. So that must do something, mustn't it?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
David, do you want to say anything?
Yes, hello. First of all, my brother and my sister, thank you for doing this for everybody on behalf of, and I'm very happy to see and hear from Santos. I'm not so happy to hear of the direct energy weapons or targeted individual stuff there, but I'd like to reflect on what's been said, if I may, and I just want to send you both love and light and say thank you on behalf, of everybody else that may benefit from this. You both living legends, and I value and love you lot. So, all right, that said, what have we touched upon? I'll do it slowly and through what Santos has gone through there. I've made some notes, so I'm looking at the areas. The heart palpitation, Santos, I can sympathise because I've been getting them for a couple of years. I've kept it private because I don't want you and I and sister here are targeted individuals via the locally vampiristic energies that Santos has just touched upon there. So I don't want to give too much away, but now is the time for cards on the table, I do believe. So I'm suffering from the loss of sleep, a little bit of spasms, fogginess, low energy, heart palps, and yes, what man's talking about there, direct energy weapons and targeted individuals via AI. Notice the alpha and the indigo, but an AI as alpha and I, and mono and the monotheism that we found here. So yes, the smart dust, is it, and nanotech, it's very real and it's very prevalent. So those that don't know anything about that, that's new to them on this, there's a few keywords there that Santos has mentioned before, and what I've been looking at. It's we seem to be in a I don't know, a dissonance of resonance as a family, as a realm now. So agreed, and very, very serious at this moment in time, alongside the radio and the electromagneto interference on the cellular levels that would go into the fields, of our biorhythms, and we have a bio clock and a biorhythm, so we all are having disruption there through an external influence, it would seem. So brother Santos has mentioned before about fields of modality, waveforms, light and energy. And we'll drop some names for somebody to research, and we'll start with like Ken and Walter, Ken Wheeler and Walter Russell. Thank you for those tips there and nudges, Santos. That's immensely helped. Many, they've told me to say, speak to Santos, tell him respect for the information shared there. You've given us a quantum boost in some of the areas of the toroidal energy, yin and yang, blue and red fields there of the flux of modality, the waveforms from Ken, is it Wheeler, and the Walter Russell. I'll go through all, they can research and find that. So in addition to back all of this up, I'll keep the thread. We've got Bruce and Greg, that would be Bruce of the Liptons and Greg of the Bradens, that discuss and have been discussing hospitals in Beijing with no medicine, tackling cancer, using the divine matrix and the power of the laws of attraction, intent, and so forth. So that's to do with your tech and your energy. And do you want to reflect on that, either of you two, before I go on?
No, I was listening. Santos, do you want to say anything?
About what? I couldn't hear David. I can't hear him. I can't hear him very well.
Oh.
All right. I'll put the mic to my mouth. Is that better? I'm on a hands-free, so I can hear you through the headphones.
Is that better, Santos?
A little bit.
Come on. I've gone hands-free. Is that any clearer?
You're quite clear to me, David.
A little bit.
All right, then, yeah, I was just saying that we have the direct energy weapons, targeted individuals, the fields of modality, the divine matrix, Ken Wheeler, Walter Russell, Bruce Lipton, and Greg Braden. Anything you're aware of them, you've brought us some of these names, so we say thank you. My scribes and the Britons say, tell Santos he's a legend, we love him, and thank you for the information with regards to...
Yep. Thanks, brother. Yeah, all those guys speak about divine energy, which is magnetism. Once you work with magnetism in your life, you can get by. For instance, last night, I think it was about 3 a.m, till I finally got a couple of winks. I put my magnets on. I'm using biomagnetics to heal me, and so I put my magnets on, one on my kidney and one on my solar plexus, and after about 20 minutes I got to sleep. So I'm working with magnets every day, and they are helping me. Many things I do are helping me. I'd be dead. Put it this way, if what I've been through happened to anyone who doesn't know what I know, they would be dead. They would be taking medications, they would be going to doctors, having operations, they'd be lost. You know, I'm doing this all by myself with knowledge and wisdom. So that's how I'm succeeding. So I've only got a few more minutes, guys, because I've got to get back, and hopefully I'll have internet when I get back. I've got to do a reading.
Thank you so much for joining us, even though we had to do it. We've sort of been on the phone now for about 2 hours trying to get to a hangout, but you managed to do it, so thank you very much under the circumstances. Thank you. Mwah. David, what do you want to say?
How's the...
Carry on.
How's the net there where you are?
Well, it's really strange, isn't it? Because, you know, they always say, oh, well, it's the outage. Oh, well, it was the holidays. Well, we're all at home now and the internet is surviving. So I don't think it's ever been the internet. These things that happen are just, I don't know what they are, but the internet is standing up. Loads of people are watching telly. Loads of people are on their computers. It is a little bit jumpy, but considering everybody's at home, I'd say it was pretty good.
Right.
You know, they're obviously getting us ready for this, weren't they, though?
Yes.
I mean, someone told me, you don't realise, it was in a message in the channel, they said, we've already got 5G, it's in the routers.
Yeah, that's true. May I just ask Santos, I've got a question. That item that I sent to that address you gave me, the GANs, that may, if you research that, and I could send you some more links, these are gravitational and magnetic balanced atomic atom, APET, you know, going back to the ancient technology. That's a bracelet that I forwarded on to you. If you can't get to that, I will send you another one, and I'll send you some test tubes full of this water of life from Dr. Keshe. So I'll message you afterwards when we've done this chat, and I'd like to hear your opinion on that at some point in the future when you've got the time. I know you're very busy.
You,
yeah, it's working well. We're getting positive results on this. And you said earlier about the stars and astrotheology and the energies. Well, we are in Quattro, Quarantine, 40, Quantum, the end of Lent, astrological alignments, planets, and times. It's I'm grateful for the information you've given. I'm involved with others in the stars as well as you, and we're all experiencing energy and fields weirdness. But we've noticed the 40, the Quattro, the end of Lent, the quantum grammar, and the alignments, the Hygiena, Aries. So yes, it's not such a bad thing. It's given us light in a way, and strength, and as above, so below, as above. So keep doing what you're doing, and we're on it, and it makes sense now. It makes sense more than ever. Syncretism and synchronicities, we're backing them up. So thank you for that. And it's not all negative. There's a lot of positive love coming out of this, in amongst the transhumanism, transgressums, transformations. So the energy is, they don't want us to, and we're connecting. So that's very good in a way. What you've helped bring out there from energies and planets. It's positivity. All right.
Thank you, David. Santos.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Santos.
Yep.
What can you do then with what's going on with you?
Yep.
Then, if it's all got worse, what can you do? Just use the magnets then.
Yep. Just keep to my protocols. I've been doing it for 10 years. That's how I got to here. I just have to keep going. Anyone else would be dead because their habits are not as advanced as mine. I've done all the yoga, the meditating. I've done the chanting. I'm doing all the protocols. I've done millions of protocols. If I didn't do those, I'd be in a grave. So I just have to keep at it and stay in nature as much as possible. Grounding. I walk on the dirt every day. Do my solar gazing, solar work. That's it.
And thank you for being on this
much.
hangout. And I felt a bit guilty when you were saying that. But, I have a timetable too, Santos. I have other people to see and other things to do. Sometimes it is a little bit like that, isn't it? It just doesn't help when you're not feeling that good.
No.
Yeah. But
Alrighty.
I thank you so much for the time, Santos. Mwah. Chat room.
Thanks,
Mwah.
guys. Take care.
Good courage. Good courage to you.
Right, well, Santos has gone now, and I'm left with David. David wanted to just add a few bits, didn't you, David?
Yeah, before we close down, because there's quite a lot of controversial, very serious and technical subjects encompassed in this last half an hour's discussion, conversation that we've just had there, the dialogue with Brother Fibonacci, and I'd just like to, because you're going to, when you premiere this, you know how busy your chat room gets, and we get people, scribes in asking questions and giving information. So I'd just like to say that as we are working together on many joint projects, enterprises, one love, one mind, one heart, one soul, one planet, one realm, all of this. So that's kind of more one. But I just wanted to touch upon those words that we've mentioned, and we've talked about the energy, and Ken, Walter, Bruce, and Greg. If anybody is up in the chat room, as this is premiering, and they are experienced and not wet behind the ears, it's not an insult to the ones that are new to it, but we need help. So if you have researched Ken Wheeler's work or Walter Russell's and fields of modality, waveforms, light, energy, linking on to Bruce Lipton and Greg Braden, so there's 4 strong names there. They're all men. I'll throw in Magenta Pixie. She's a lovely female that does a lot of chatting on Tube, and you're looking at the areas of consciousness, dissonance and resonance to some extent, and the fields of modality, waveforms, the light energy, and the divine matrix, dissonance of resonance. I did do a chat about I did a presentation, Order and Chaos, about the Nun, N-U-N, and that in itself, lacking both shape and force. It's the story of creation, but from Egyptian point of view, ancient history. So we are into a lot of scientific quantum fields of modality, and I'd like to express this time via you and Santos to say we'd like to join forces with anybody that has these kind of areas of research under their belts. We have.
What you mean? Because actually, only the people are going to manage to do this. You know, right now, everything that we thought was important, even 6 weeks ago, is less important now. And hopefully, everybody can get that into their brains and wake up a bit and realise that hopefully this is where we start looking after ourselves.
Well, yes, we recognise that throughout history, academic and academia has not presented much, but the greats that worked and changed the realm.
Do you know what I'm hoping, David? What I'm hoping is, you know how they labelled things? Like, they did it with, like, gems. They'd say, oh, hippies like them. So they would go, oh, well, I'm not a hippie, so I can't like gems. It was the way that they did the subversion. And it goes on and on and on, and they've got us to believe that NASA's real and that they're in space. I'm just hoping that enough people know that there's something drastically wrong and that they can see that it's a charade and that we start looking after ourselves.
And that's what this plea is from me. This request is for somebody. I'll give a contact out at the end rather than you dealing with it, or sister on your channel. But yes, we're gonna get together as a clan, as a tribe, unite them. Mans are gonna unite in a way under the stars at the end of this 40 Quattro quarantine, and we're going into the quantum in grammar and in science. Lent ended roughly, I think, the 9th of April, 9th the last day, the 10th of April, and we've got the alignments brought to us by Santos and Claudio with the Hygiena, Aries.
I wonder what it really meant, you know, because all they had to do was tell us it was a tax day and leave it there for years and years, because we started a new tax year as well.
Well, that's the sovereign self-masters, initiates of self and law cannot be taxed. Only legal persons can be taxed. Indigenous mans are not to be taxed. It's a Roman thing. Pay Caesar his taxes, as they wrote via Constantine, through the New Testament there. As we brought, so yeah, they've written in, pay what is due to Caesar, give render unto Caesar that which is his, roughly paraphrase, which means those that wrote the book telling you Jesus says to pay taxes. We've already ironed out the fact that the Jews did not want idolatry, false idols and gods and so forth, so the Romans had a real bind to try and get them to pay tax to a foreign man such as Caesar. So we touched upon that. The tax is a bit of it's got an X in it as well.
Do you know what? When you're talking about this,
with X's in them.
it makes me think that we're supposed to be living in 2020, but it's almost like we're living 680 AD or something. Like, a lot of what we're following seems to always go back to this Roman time or something.
The encumbrance of coins and money and taxes and bonds and duties, obligations, which leads us to the Romans. Boat people, water, be wary of that.
I know, and it's like they twist things round. They twist everything. Like, maybe some of the history from the past is correct, but it's not. Well, we'll change that queen around and we'll move that up there and we'll do this, and by the time we look at it, it's different. But above all, one of the things I want to come out of this, David, is that truth prevails, because we're just living in a complete lie. All of it. Everything you can think of. Medication, education, our history, what we're living on, going to the moon. It's all rubbish.
Agreed. And we use our due diligence and we look at his history, and the story's there. History is written by the winners, not the losers there.
Yeah, so, and they can change it. Like, they've completely omitted a Tartaria time or whatever that is. It's omitted.
So it seems we are in a time now, planetary-wise. We're going up to December. The year of light is coming, and we've got Aquarius about 2025. We're in I'd say a pregnancy stage before the pitches and waters are flood in some essences. A zodiac, astrotheological, conscious energy flood. There's a change. Cyclical cycles are being reset, which leads us into the transhumanism, schisms and isms. Be wary of those words. Take that, not just from me. Research. Fascism is another one to just for alarm bells. We're looking at transgressions. That's some kind of transgresses and transgressions are a faith religious type of word, where I'm a man of faith. I've done with religions and transformations, which is the fiat, the fiscal, the mon-I, the AI, you know, the one I, money, mon-I, and you've got credit, energy, sources, and uniform commercial codes, the seas of space. So we're going into uncharted waters to, you know, for wordplay there, and we're going to start to use our will, and we're going to testify. So for those that are wanting to do something, I'm closing down, I'm going to yield in a minute. Those that are wanting to do something, that have energy, that have love and light, compassion and time, we've all got plenty of time, it seems, so we're going to give away some documents. I say this lightly, not straight away. We're going to do some short videos, and they're going to be stuff like information on no legal advice, standard. We're not in the bar society, we're not boat people, admirals, Romans. We are I'm a Briton man, natural flesh and blood, you know. I wouldn't say human, just natural man. I'm not a legal person, and I'm not a natural person. A flesh and blood, natural man with a will. I think, therefore I am. And our last will and testament is going to be given away. You know, it's roughly a £20 document for you to go and find online. It's not thousands of pounds worth of, you know, armour of God. We talk about Ephesians, and if you can go through Ephesians and find me where it talks about it, not you, sister, but the viewers. I'll let you work this one and go digging. In the New International Version, I brought this out in the video called "The Life of the Flesh is in the Blood" with Brother Kevin at the weekend, and it went down really well. The armour of God, your will, and we will then start to inform you on how we open a door or not open a door, as it is, answer or correspond to a letter, and when the telephone rings, we will also give you key information on how we divert the liabilities there. So your will and testament is to protect your assets, your fiscal, your financial, your intrinsic, non-intrinsic, many different things here. So it will be an irrevocable document. It won't be a revocable, which means, you know, while you're alive, you can have a living will, which would be editable, which will be revocable, revocable, and you can have one that is set in stone, that is not to be changed unless you divorce or something. Then the beneficiaries and whatnot would change in your will, and you'd use a codicil to make them amendments supplementary to the original will if you was changing, you know, entitlements and properties, etc. So we've got 3 things there: how to answer the door, the phone, and or answer correspondence.
Can I ask you something, David? For this,
yeah,
you will put a message in the chat, you know, in the messages, so where people can get in touch with you for all this.
The word, yes, well led up. Thank you, sister. Contact at splspro.com. And I, David, or just me at the moment, there's only me accessing that one, and we'll get that in due course. And like Santos said, there are hundreds and thousands of contacts coming through. There is myself, Greg, and Kevin at the minute managing the back end of our trusts that we set up, and our duties and obligations under the sacred contract, where we would like to make the world's resources common heritage for man again and take them away from the corporations. So if you email contact at splspro.com, and then you'll get in touch with me there. We do have a domain, but I'm not here to answer that. It's on the email. If you look at and then the splspro.com, pro-creators are protecting, and yeah, we're going to do this as a fan. We have specialised forums in the private, and we'll do specialised watch parties on Facebook. Facebook.
Yeah.
Oxymoron. And we will have specialised forums. We'll do watch parties. We'll come back here to you, and obviously on Indi as another backup channel, SPLS space PRO on YouTube. So we'll put the watch parties.
And you're also Indi Glow on YouTube.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of channels on Indi. David's, the man David, manages Indi, and that's my legal account here for that, and it's on its last leg. So I set up a while ago, another channel, which is SPLS PRO, but 2 words. and then we will go there and upload the videos and do some focus projects and jobs, work in progress with how we get on with this.
Yeah.
So we're going to start to protect and work together. But I'd like any of these topics with the money, the codes, the energy, the stars, the fields of modality, the direct energy weapons, or the law and the will. So there's big areas to look at. We can't do them all. We're prioritising them. We are way behind. So that's it. That's my
Can I add something?
appeal.
Can I add something? David, I love you. Button
bless
moon,
you.
David.
Oh yeah, you're a lovely soul. You are. I love you. I say that in front of my queen. At first, she was like, "What are you saying? You love David? You love me. I am your queen." And I'm like, "This is Sister Special K." She's the lady that I talked to on Sun and Moon, and she, "Oh yes, I know who you mean," and all was good again. We share the love. And between female and male, we say that word. We're not told we're loved enough each day. And,
David,
yeah,
I love your
barriers.
queen too.
Oh bless, I know you do, and she loves you for what you've allowed us to do and how you help us. And it's a plutonic, and what do we say here? It's something love. I can't think of the word, where there's no contract and there's no unconditional.
Yeah, we have
love,
unconditional love. Yeah.
We have. Yeah. And
I
it's
love it because David
reciprocated.
will always message me and then he puts in button moon, which is I love you. Isn't it?
Yeah, I just like to rhyme if I can. Sometimes it's by accident, sometimes on purpose, and keep the flow, the energy. You see, my presentation has slowed. I've become more calm, more structured, and I'm just so happy that we can have some time with Santos. But it looks like he needs some extra help there, and what he said he's doing. Is amazing because anybody
What can
else
you say to him? He already said everybody says try this when it's nothing to do with those. I've got all these people wanting me. I don't feel very good. What advice can you give Santos?
I didn't get to tell him I'm stood here with a cracked front incisor, an abscess above it, and an infection spreading across my right cheek, and I daren't go to hospital. I don't want to go in and not come out. I'm treating myself with
David.
lemon, manuka, lemon, curcumin, silver water, and I've just drank.
David, it sounds like the men are being killed off.
No, this is just, I had an accident coming off a motorbike when I was 15, and they took out the root canal, the nerves in both my front teeth, and the dentist said they will die and you'll need them replacing. I was 15 then, and now I'm 40 something, and one of them's just given up the other week and cracked, and it's got loose, and it's a tremendous amount of pain, and I've had a lot of information from the scribes, but I'm dealing with a bit of
what's happening to the men in the world? What's happening to you?
Well, it's just a natural thing that happens through fatigue and wear and tear, I suppose, but the timing is really pants because everywhere's closed, and if you go anywhere you might
and you don't want to go anywhere, do you, at the moment? So your car doesn't want to break down, nothing with these things, you don't want to go to the doctors. Yeah, you don't want anything breaking down in the house, and you don't want anything going wrong in your body right now.
But again, we got the private aspect, and the commercial realm is, a few years ago, we used to say, this has come from Brother Kevin the other day in a chat, he said, Dave, we used to say we'd like to stop the world and get off. It was G-Star, sorry, not Kevin, Brother G. And he says, you can now, you can actually get off and, have a walk around, but you can't go far because you're not allowed to get out your house, or allegedly, under emergency congressional parliamentary measures.
We've always kept in touch like this, though, haven't we? It's no different right now. We spent a lot of time in our homes, and we got in touch with us each other on the computer, so it hasn't changed for us. But we do keep in touch. Me and David speak privately. Not everybody I do, but I do have lots of friends. But David, is there anything else you want to say? Because this little video is now, is a certain time, and people only listen for a certain amount of time. So.
Yeah, we're done. That's everything, my love. Bless you and thank you. Thank you to Santos. Thank you to all in the chat room and all that continue to do the good work and promote and fight against the adversity. In the face of adversity, we will take the faith, and if you stick with it, you will be delivered. So I'll leave it there. It's been very much of a privilege and an honour to be here again and to mix
Yeah,
with
especially as we
Santos.
lost Santos. We were sort of dum da dum da dum for about an hour. Dum da da dum dum dum. But he managed
He's still in
to,
there.
yeah. But it doesn't sound very good what's happening to him. But thank you very much, Santos, and I hope that it all goes away. And thank you, David, and I hope so does your tooth. Thanks very much for the hangout. Thank you, and chat room. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, thank you all.